Cruise news time. Well, interesting stories today. Of course, I'm in Miami, Florida. I attended the celebration of the Carnival Celebration, the naming ceremony last night. I got to tell you some stuff about that. It was really cool. I also had a conversation with the lady who was seen hanging over the cruise railing. We saw that video a few days ago. A popular activity, an adult activity, has returned to a Royal Caribbean cruise ship near you. And while the world's largest cruise ship, she's got a new home port. Which one? Which ship? Where? What is it? The intrigue is building. Cruise news and my views. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Lido, Loca. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news and views for your face, November the 21st, 2022. It's a Monday. Does anybody have a case of the Mondays? I am here in Miami, Florida. It rained the whole way from my house yesterday to Miami. It rained during most of the naming ceremony last night, and it is dreary. It is dreary this morning. I'm right here at my favorite hotel, the Radisson Red, over by the airport, and I'm right across from the bus station. So I could either go home by car today, or by bus, or by plane. Planes, trains, automobiles. But before I do anything, let me give you the cruise news. And let's start with an update to the story about the young lady hanging over a rail on a cruise ship a couple days ago. I was sent a video of a young lady who was obviously distraught. She had one leg over the rail of her balcony, and eventually she was brought back onto the cruise ship by security. A lot of people saw that video. Well, she reached out to me, and it was an interesting conversation. She told me her story, she told me what happened, and she asked that I would take the video down, which I've actually taken the video down, and I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. And I understand where she was coming from. The story from her perspective is that she had too much to drink. It's just a classic story of having too much to drink and losing control of your faculties and making a dumb choice, doing a thing that was not the best thing to do. Young single mother of a couple children, and obviously because of the video making its way around social media, well, she's catching a lot of grief from it. And it was a tough decision for me. Like, should I leave the video up? Should I take it down? She was getting wrecked pretty hard in the comments. That's the thing that's challenging sometimes. Sometimes I like to talk about things in generalities. I'll talk about the person that cut the line or the person that came to the show late, and very rarely do we highlight those people in a way where they are identifiable. And so, you know, in the comments we'll say, oh, the people shouldn't do that, or what are they thinking, that kind of thing. But when it becomes a scenario where the person is identifiable and they're taking a lot of, flack in the comments, I feel bad. I feel like we should err on the side of compassion. I saw a lot of comments that were pretty insensitive, that really didn't take into consideration what may have been going on, and it was just an easy pile-on scenario, and she certainly saw that, and she felt piled on, and it's caused some challenges for her. I certainly don't want to be the catalyst for those challenges. Obviously, she made those decisions, that kind of thing. We're not trying to remove that personal responsibility. But from my perspective, the work that I do and the things that we do here as a community, do we make it better or do we make it worse? And I feel like sometimes when we don't err on the side of compassion, well, we make it worse. And so I took it down. Obviously, she's got to live with the ramifications of what she did and the fact that, you know, it's well publicized. So I'm going to talk about the story again today, but I would ask that you would please refrain from posting comments that are negative toward this lady. That's my ask. Here's the update, because we all want to know the same. I had the same initial question. Well, what happened after you got pulled back in? Did you get in trouble? That was a question I was certainly curious about, and I know that it's probably a question that you're curious about. Well, it's pretty straightforward. She got confined to her cabin. They made sure that the balcony door was not accessible anymore, that she could not go back out onto the balcony, and she spent the rest of her cruise in her cabin. I think it was only like another day with a guard posted outside of her cabin. She was banned for 1 year from cruising with Carnival, and she's a pretty frequent Carnival cruiser, and so that's going to be significant. And if everything goes well, she'll be able to cruise with Carnival again in a year. I think there is still some discussion going on about it. And so just to land the plane, just to bring the cruise ship back to port, as it were, it's a cautionary tale, right? Alcohol is free flowing on a cruise ship. You have to be careful with your alcohol consumption, because alcohol will make you do some illogical things. And I think we certainly saw that in this circumstance. And then also a fair warning that if you push the limits, that you will end up with circumstances that you don't want to have, notoriety that you don't want to have, punishments that you don't want to have. And I do want to make sure I say this. She did communicate that she was not trying to hurt herself. She was upset. She said she'd had a negative interaction with some guys at one of the bars on the ship that may spurred some of this, emotional activity that she was having. But she wanted to reiterate that she very much wasn't trying to hurt herself. So again, I took that video down. Please be kind in the comments, but that's the update on that story. Cruise news story number 2, a popular adult activity is returning to a Royal Caribbean cruise ship near you. Look, we lost a lot of stuff during the pandemic, and we lost the ability to do things in close proximity to each other because there was some concern about the spread of the virus. And one of those things that went by the wayside is the Quest Adult Game Show. Now, if you've never been to a Quest adult game show, it's certainly adult. It's a scavenger hunt, and it's a racy scavenger hunt. They may ask you to produce a bra or panties or show an interesting tattoo in a place that's not normally shown, those kind of things. And usually it ends up with people being fairly close to each other. Maybe you're going to do a twerk on a stranger, something like that. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of adult fun. It's not for everybody. If you see the adult game show and that kind of racy things that I've just talked to you about, if that bothers you a little bit, don't go. Don't go to those things. And they give a big preamble at the beginning of these shows, like, this is going to be crazy. Don't take any pictures. And if you're easily offended, you may not want to be here. So that's the Quest, and it's been gone. I haven't seen it back for a while. Well, apparently it's been spotted on a couple Royal Caribbean cruise ships. So I just wanted to lay it out there for all of you fans of the Quest. You may have an opportunity to do the Quest again. I don't know if it's back on Carnival yet, but definitely coming back on Royal. That's a question for you. Have you been on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship? Do you love the Quest? Have you seen it? Do you have any strong Quest feelings for any cruise line? Leave a comment below. Now, I've got another cruise news story about the new home port for the world's largest cruise ship. I have to tell you about the event last night, but before I do that, let me quickly invite you to subscribe. If you like staying up to date with everything that's going on in cruising, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes. Thank you in advance. Well, the Wonder of the Seas, guess who's back? Back again. Wonder's back. Wonder of the Seas. She started out her Florida sailing season in Fort Lauderdale. Well, now she's got a new home port, and it's in what I think is Florida's best home port. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think this is Florida's best cruise port. Port Canaveral, baby. Wonder of the Seas out of Port Canaveral will be primarily focused on Caribbean cruises, and the Wonder of the Seas will be in Port Canaveral for the next 2 years. So if you want to get on the world's largest cruise ship, at least for right now, you can go to Port Canaveral, get on the Wonder of the Seas. Have you sailed the Wonder of the Seas? I was on her inaugural, and it was a little challenge because they still had some things that they needed to do. But I will be back on the Wonder in December to check her out again. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to the easy trip to Port Canaveral. What do you think about this news? Does that make you excited? Leave a comment below. And now let me tell you a little bit about the naming celebration for the Carnival Celebration. It was a last-minute decision for me to come here to Miami to go to it. Of course, a big shout out to the lovely Jenny B for making it possible. I had a pretty smooth experience when I got to the terminal. They got me right in. I was on a list. Everything worked out fine, and it was really cool. It was cool for a lot of reasons. I'm working on a longer video. I did a whole vlog of the ceremony and my trip over, all that. I'm going to be publishing that video in a couple days, so let me just give you a couple highlights for me. What was really cool is the whole blessing part.
In observance of the ancient and sacred traditions of the sea, I hereby name this ship the Carnival Celebration. May good fortune shine on all who work and sail on her, and may she always have smooth seas and a following wind wherever she may sail.
And And then I had a lot of fun because I had friends there. I got to hang out with Sharon at Sea, Jamie and Sharon, Doug Parker from Cruise Radio, and then a lot of other people that I've known over cruising for the last few years. It was really great to see some old friends, to make some new friends, to meet people that watch the show. A shout out to everybody that I got to meet last night. And personally, I got to cross off one of my bucket list meets. I got to have a couple moments talking with John Heald. Super nice guy. It was really cool to meet him. And then the night was closed out by Kool and the Gang. And imagine what their final song was. It's a celebration. But yeah, a really cool event, something I'd never experienced before, something I'd like to experience again. Again, I'm going to do a longer video about it. But yeah, that's just a taste of it. Certainly excited that I made the trip to Miami. But with all that said, I do need to go home. We've got family coming in for Thanksgiving. And so, yeah, and we're cruising on the celebration in less than a week. So I'll be back. But yeah, for now, I'm going to head back home. Thank you for checking out the show today. Please do me a favor, hit the like button. This is Tony for Lido Loca. And until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.